Hey guys, what's up? It is Josh Thomas, aka DFS Up North here with another Fanshare First Look course preview, talking about the players. I can't believe the fifth major of the year is finally here. We just wrapped up Arnie's tournament. Just watched Terrell Hatton secure the win after just an incredible 4 days of golf. You know, we've had back-to-back weeks now of just intense, crazy carnage. And me personally, like, I love to watch that. I know maybe the average fan wants to see some more birdies, but this was a lot of fun. My boy Sung Jae had a chance there at the end. Overall, a pretty tough week for me. Personally, some of my core plays for the week were guys, you know, if you read my article on Fanshare, I talked about Jason Day, WD'd in the second round. You know, guys like I was big on Mav McNeely, Carlos Ortiz. They both blew up on 18. Henrik Stenson, all three of them blew up on 18 to miss the cut. But it was a crazy week. You know, you think you're dead on Friday, and I actually came out, you know, fairly even on the week. You know, just based on, you know, it was like crazy seeing these fours, sixes cashing as the week went on. That's unheard of here. So we are ready to go for the players. I know many people are maybe you're burned out on golf because you got burned last week. But this is a brand new week. It is a major type week with some huge contests on DraftKings. And I'm super excited. You know, I'm imagining that we're going to get our third week of carnage in a row here, because that's typically what happens at the players. I think even more so now with the move from May to March. Last year was the first year we did that. And I think that that's going to play a pretty big role here again this week. So I'm excited about it. We at Fanshare Sports are going to continue to pump out content. Great stuff. And I hope that you guys come along. If you're not a member, you can use that code Josh to get 20% off of Fanshare Pro membership right now. If you stick around till the end of the video, you find that you'll hear about a chance to win $20 for the DraftKings Millie Maker this weekend. It's super easy to do, so make sure you hang around till the end of this video. But let's get into the course. We have the Players Championship. We are in Ponte Beach, Florida. TPC Sawgrass, the stadium course. When everybody thinks of the stadium course, what do they think? The 17th, right? The Island Green. So this is one of my favorite events of the year. I love that it used to be on Mother's Day. My mom's a big golfer, so we'd always watch. But I do like the move to May. It's nice to, you know, get the PGA into, or the move to March, get the PGA into May there. Kind of have golf almost wrapped up before football kind of gets into the swing of things here. So it's a par 72, 71.89. It is not a super long course. With the weather, sometimes it can play quite a bit longer, but it's a Pete Dye course, which we'll talk about that in a second after we talk about the greens and fairway. We got Typical Bermuda. There's going to be an overseat on it. Celebration Bermuda in the rough. Last year, what we saw is in March, we didn't get a super thick rough in the Bermuda here, just because of the time of year. This year, the growing conditions have been a little bit better. So while last year I thought you could get away a little bit more with not hitting fairways here, with being able to be a little wild, I think this year it's going to be a little more tough to do that. But it's a Pete Dye design. On Fanshare Sports, we actually have something that allows us to just search data or search tournament history just based on Pete Dye designs, because he's designed so many courses that these guys play. So Harbor Town, the TPC course for the Amex, among others, Kiowa, where Rory won, where they had the battle on the shore there in 1992 for the Ryder Cup. So just a classic design. What Pete Dye really does is he's going to challenge your sight lines on the tee. And I think that we almost always see who is playing the best golf on TPC weeks, or on Pete Dye weeks, but we also see who trusts their game the most, because Dye is really going to say, okay, you're going to have this no look. You got to carry this. It looks like there's nothing there, but there's a ton of room. Like, you just got to trust your numbers, trust where the ball is going, right? And he really sort of messes with your mind. So having some mental toughness here, I think, is huge. And we saw it last year. John Ram on Sunday lost the mental battle, made a poor decision, and lost the tournament, and opened the door for maybe one of the toughest athletes in terms of mental toughness. Rory McIlroy came in and took it down. So the Pete Dye, it's always very tricky. And I think having experience on Pete Dye courses just in general, whether it's here, whether it's Harbor Town, whether it's wherever, is a huge advantage. So the course record here is -9. Koepka, Webb, Colt, Jason Day. I believe, all of these were before the move to March. So I think that the move to March actually helps scoring a little bit because it's not going to play as firm and fast. The weather next week looks pretty good as long as we don't get some weather. So we could see somebody touching that 63 score. The one interesting fact, and I feel like I always have these, but the famous 17th hole there with the island green was actually a suggestion by Dye's wife, Alice, who was, really a golf architect herself, and that they worked together for many, many years. But you need sand for courses. And this course was designed really to host this tournament. And right where the 17th is, that was a big sand pit. And the rest of the course is in Florida, in Jacksonville. So it's swampy, right? So there's lots of mud and they needed sand. So actually in that area, they dug out all the sand in that area and they had this huge crater there. And Alice Dye suggested, well, why don't we fill it with water and build an island green like they'd seen at some other courses. And now you have one of the most iconic holes in golf, which is kind of a crazy story. So we look back at some of the winners here. Rory was the last year that we had the move, right? 16 under, beat Jimmy Furyk, who was playing just some excellent golf, and it really withstood the weather on Sunday because it was a difficult day. To finish second by a stroke. Webb Simpson, a winner here. Siwoo Kim, he was the beneficiary of Ian Poulter choking it away. Jason Day, another winner here. Ricky, everybody remembers that win over Sergio and Kiz. Keimer over Furyk again. So Tiger Woods. So the thing that I want to point out here is that, and I think this is a huge part of Pete Dye course design. So you do have some bombers that have done well here. You've got the Rory McIlroys, you got the Xanders. Ricky hits it a long ways. Jason Day, Tiger. But you also have some of these shorter hitters like Sergio hits it a long way. But like guys like Kiz, David Lingmerth, Jim Furyk, those guys have had some success. Schwartzel's very short. Those guys have had some success here as well. And the reason that is because Dye does a very nice job of forcing everyone into these landing areas to be able to attack the greens. So what I mean by that is essentially so Rory can hit it 350 off the tee and Jimmy Furyk can hit it 280. Well, a lot of the landing zones to attack these greens are going to be like 260, 270. So your average driving distance is going to go down, and Furyk might still be able to hit driver, but Rory's maybe hitting 2-iron, right? So he really, and Rory could hit driver, but there's a lot of risk with that, and just with the way that they've routed this course. So it's really a very good equalizer, I think, to find who is playing the best golf. Some courses, there's huge advantages to guys that hit it a long way, or there's huge advantage to guys that are in the fairways. And this is a course that I really do think it's a strategic course, but that they can take away some of that, like, hey, Rory can bomb it here and he's going to dominate. So, we look at, how it played last year, about a half a stroke under par. If we go back to 18, 17, and when it played in May, we actually see that closer to even par. And again, because the course gets a little bit baked out as it gets through into that May area, and we see it run a little bit more firm and fast. But I don't know, maybe it might play firm and fast this year. You watch the API, the Honda last week, it seemed like those greens weren't very receptive at all. So we could see a firm and fast course here. The one thing that I do want to point out is you're going to hear a ton of talk about the 17th this week, right? It's the Island Green. It's going to be in every single promo. It's going to be in every single ad. It's actually the easiest par 3 on the course, which is kind of crazy, right? We hear all this talk about it, but it really is one of the easiest holes on the course. The hole number 8, the 237-yard par 3, played as the second hardest hole last year and has statistically been the hardest par 3 on this course over a long period of time. So the one thing that I do like about this course is we might not see that under 70 bonus for DraftKings purposes, but we will see a lot of eagles, right? So we had 63 eagles total last year, which is a pretty high clip, right? So it's gonna have a lot of pars. There is some big numbers out there. There's water on 15 of the 18 holes, so you got to be careful a little. So like I talked about with the driving distance here, okay, 283 on the shorter end of the stick here. Decent fairway, driving accuracy percentage, greens and regs. Talked about those eagles being at a pretty higher clip, birdies at about average, not a lot of pars, but there is some bogeys, more bogeys and more double bogeys than we see on a normal tour event too. The greens, 12.7, that's a little bit skewed. I think they'll run a little bit slower this year, just being in March. Last year they They ran right around to 12. So we do have a lot of fairway strokes, not a lot of rough strokes. They're fairly easy to hit fairways. Not necessarily easy to hit fairways. They're just fairways that you have to hit. So guys are going to club down. They're going to go back, and they're not going to hit a ton of balls into the rough here because, again, they've had problems with it in the past. Sand strokes, there's a lot of pot bunkers on this course. Die, similar to like what we saw this week with Arnie, where I think that there's a lot of well-placed bunkers here. Die is even better than that, right? So you have those pot bunkers, and you'll have waste bunkers out there that are going to be very difficult to hit out of. Putts per round, about average, right? 27 seems to be pretty normal. So you'll have some a little bit higher flip wedge here in 1% at 125, 4% at 125 to 50, and then that mid tier range, which we saw actually be very high last week. You're going to get less of those and more approach shots from about 200 plus. Those longer approach shots again are because guys are going to be forced to lay back. 7,100 yards is not very long, but when you have these forced layups that make you play to a certain side of the fairway to get out of green or to get out of pin, you're going to see some longer approach shots into those greens. So some of my key takeaways here again this week are, it's a Pete Dye course. Make sure that you're taking that into account. Known for his daunting tee shots, difficult sight lines, test every aspect of your game. If you go to Fanshare Sports, we can show you exactly who plays well on Pete Dye. And actually, I have a slide here coming up on it in a minute. Distance, unlike last week, it's not going to be as big of a factor here, especially since I'm not sure the rough's going to be as thick and lush. It wasn't last year, maybe this year. I'm looking forward to hearing some reports as we get into the week. So 4 par 4s over 450 yards, but really this is a very good mix of holes. Again, I think this is like the perfect sort of course to host this event. We are really finding who the best player for that week is. Again, forced layups. It's great die design. Makes guys hit approach shots all from similar distance, regardless of how long they are off the tee. And then the water on the 15th and 18th holes, right? There's lots of water out here. If you are not careful, you will end up in it, and you could blow the tournament on Sunday like John Ram did last year. So like I said, event history. So who plays well at TPC Sawgrass? So the top two guys at the top, Peps and Answer, both guys that were in the mix last year, right? They've only played here once, so you got to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt, but have done pretty well here. Tommy Fleetwood, 3 times at this event, and has done pretty well. Webb Simpson, former winner here. Sergio Garcia, former winner here. Sabs pops up here 3 times at this course, played pretty well. He finished very strong, I think, on the weekend here at the API, and he's going to be a guy that is going to go under own next week. So definitely somebody I'm interested in. Adam Scott, obviously elite ball striker, done well here over the years, former winner. I was watching the golf today, and there was promos on there with Scotty, and he was, he looked like a baby when he won here. But JT, I think, coming off, not necessarily playing a ton. DJ not playing a ton, but both great histories here. Might go a little bit under owned. Joel Damon. Let me see. He was in a fight here at the end with Soon Kang to see who was going to get into. They're both in this event. Damon obviously did well here last year, but was in a little bit of a battle here with Soon Kang to see who gets into the Open. And Joel Damon and Gino Benelli are heading to the Open Championship this year. So that's exciting for those guys. But Damon playing very, very good golf. Bryson DeChambeau. I'm not sure that his off the tee prowess is going to be as big of a beneficiary for him this year, for him here this year, but playing again pretty good golf. Another top 10 this week. Poltz finishing strong. Siwoo, I don't know. I can't fix that guy. I'm not Pat Mayo. I don't ever know when Siwoo is going to play well, but it's a Pete Dye track, so you got to get some action. Mckenzie Hughes, unreal at the Honda Classic. I think he makes a lot of sense here. He's been here twice, done pretty well. He's going to be very cheap. If we have some recency bias with guys going to, maybe the cheap guys from this week that did well, Hughesy's going to be in my player pool for sure. And JT Postone, nobody's going to own him. He shot like 1,000 this week. So decent history here as well. Guys at Pete Dye courses. So let's see if there's any crossover between some of these guys, right? Scheffler has only played two events on Pete Dye courses, but has done well. Struggled a little bit today out there on the course, but was solid. Ryan Rose, Dustin Johnson, Jason Day, Patrick Cantlay. He's a guy that I think is going to be a sleeper this week. He hasn't played in a bit. He's kind of in that mid-tier 9K range. That's going to be hard to fit in. Not for me. I am going to hammer that range this week. So he's done pretty well on these Pete Dye tracks. Cooch, obviously another former winner here. Rory Cage Lee, definitely interesting. I thought I'm not sure how he finished today, but he got in late, obviously, with I think it was the Molinari WD, and ended up making the cut and finishing well. So he's in next week. Gets a course, or a design that he's been familiar with. Sergio, nobody's been playing him. He hasn't been playing much. Brooks struggled again yesterday. Today was a little bit better. Not very confident in his game, but this is the player. So if this is a major, does Brooks show up? I think he's interesting because at his price, nobody's going to play him. Morikawa is an every week play for me. He just is a stud. Kiz, obviously, we've got the match play where he's done really well. Like Kiz is just not a play on Pete Dye courses now. Webb, Spieth. We're gonna play Spieth this week. I think we can. I saw enough a couple weeks ago that I'm going to be in. I'm going to talk about him, I think, in my Taking the Pulse article this week. We're going to see what the ownership's like, but definitely somebody that I'm interested in. And then Sung Jae, he's starting to get popular. I'm just going to continue. I'm so pot committed on this kid that I'm just going to continue to play him at 15, 20%. So this week, obviously, the weather and the wind played a huge factor. It is so early. It's Sunday afternoon. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. As we go forward. But what it looks like right now is that Thursday morning, we're going to get sort of calm winds. But as the day goes on Thursday, the wind's going to pick up. Doesn't look like a huge deal. If you can, temperature wise, 63, 70, 75. So not bad in the afternoons there. Maybe the better play, if we're looking for a wind wave advantage right now is to play guys in this afternoon and hope it's not as windy. And then they get this perfect 8 a.m., just no breeze at all, right? Maybe we get some morning dew, very receptive greens. You can fire at pins. So maybe this PM wave on Thursday and the AM on Friday is going to be the way to go about it. So my winner this week, I have a really hard time getting away from Webb at 9,200. Definitely like him. Like the odds on him as well. I think that Sung Jae, hurts me to say, he's going to be a chalk donkey this week. And if there's ever I talked about it at the Honda, right? Where there's carnage, right? If there's ever a week to fade the chalk, it's that week, right? Well, now we're 2 weeks on, and now if there's ever a week to fade the chalk, it's right here. The players, guys blow up every single year. Sung Jae blew up last year on a par 3 that ended up missing the cut. So Sung Jae is going to be chalky. Really, this is going to be a huge week for ownership. And where do you find the best ownership projections in the game? Right here at Fanshare Sports. If you are not a Fanshare Pro member, 20% off right down there. Use that code Josh. Get in. Like I said a minute ago, Patrick Cantlay, sleeper. Perez was somewhat popular at the WGC, where there's only 70 some guys, but the guy's got a ton of game. He started out shot 9 over, and now he came back and finished in the top 20. I love Victor Perez. He's got a ton of game. He's been resting. He's getting ready. This is his, this is a big debut for him. This guy's going to get into the majors this year, but I think that he is going to be a very intriguing sleeper this week. So do you want a chance to win entry into this week's Millie Maker? All right, here's what you got to do. The Fanshare Sports account in a little bit here is going to send out a tweet with this video. Okay. Retweet that. All right. Get that out there. We're trying to get some more views here. We're trying to get people in on Fanshare Sports, spread the love a little here. So you got to retweet that video from the Fanshare Sports account. The next thing you need to do is like and comment below, right below here. Okay. Who you think wins the players. All right. So whether it's Webb, whether it's Sung Jae, whether it's Rory, just tell me who you think wins. All right. And then include your Twitter handle so that we can verify that you retweeted this account or you retweeted the video from earlier this week. So if you don't retweet the video, you can't win the $20. All right. So you got to retweet the tweet that comes from the Fanshare Sports account. Like and comment below who you think can win the players or who you think is going to win the players. Include your Twitter handle on it. So we can verify, and it has to be done by 8 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday, March 11th. That way I can reach out to you on Twitter, get you set up with that Millie Maker, $20. All right. So again, make sure that you're following me on Twitter, DFS Up North. Follow that Fanshare Sports account so that you guys can get involved and get a chance to win a $20 entry fee, and maybe you can be a millionaire. How cool would that be, right? So Fanshare Sports, we will have all sorts of content for you throughout the week. So Lee's going to have his under the radar picks, which are crushing. I'll have my ownership model or my ownership article out on Wednesday. we'll have probably early ownership this week, maybe Monday night, Tuesday morning, just giving you guys an early look at what it looks like for the week. We got the showdown model for our Discord members, looking to get that on site soon. So again, I'm super excited for this year's fifth major. If you are really serious about DFS and you want to do well and you want to win, you gotta, like, ownership is the number one thing that you can use. There's a big stretch here of where ownership is going to be so important. We got the players, we got the match play where it's going to be huge, and then the Masters, where I think it is the number one indicator of success in GPP at the Masters. So use the code Josh, 20% off. Follow along. Here's your chance to win $20 entry into this week's Million Maker. Give me a follow on Twitter. Have a great week, guys. Thanks.